He's Tony. I'm Mike. I'm here for week 3 of the Action Bowl.
So week 3 of the Action Bowl, and we are going to see Cynthia Rothrock square off against Kurt Russell. This one definitely comes down to the draw. Mike will be drawing for Kurt Russell. I will be drawing for Cynthia Rothrock. So,
Right, so here's Miss Rothrock. I'll give you the old shake. Go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna... Fast Getaway 1.
Wait, is this the one with the Corey?
This is the one with Corey Haim or Corey Feldman, one of the two Corys. I don't remember which one. I've never seen this one before, and I gotta be honest, I'm looking forward to it because it got a sequel. I know that much. So
I'll be looking forward to partaking in something to help me enjoy this movie. All right. Mr. Russell here.
And drawing from the Kurt Russell Bowl.
Escape from LA.
It is anyone's game.
It literally is anybody's game. Holy shit, because that movie fucking sucks.
But
man,
we will score it. We will score it, and you tune in.
We can have a huge upset here.
You thought Cynthia was gone. My girl's got legs.
Wow. I'm actually I'm kind of looking forward to this because I'm curious to see who's going to win this. It's going to be close because, man, Escape from LA is awful.
Anyway, keep watching. This week's matchup and our film selections are, well, controversial to say the very least, but our first film that was picked was Kurt Russell and John Carpenter, normally a dream team, doing Escape from LA.
Why the fuck was this movie made?
Why? I got nothing. All I can tell you is Kurt Russell had he did Memoirs of an Invisible Man, which he did not have his name
John
on
Carpenter.
that one. And
Not
then,
Kurt Russell.
I'm sorry, yeah, John Carpenter did that one. And this almost comes off
Chevy Chase in that piece of shit.
I'm sorry, this almost comes off like Kurt Russell was trying to do John Carpenter a favor of hey man, don't quit directing. We can do a movie together. Hey, everybody loves Escape from New York. Let's do that one. And so they decided that they needed to show the world what Escape from New York would have been like if it sucked.
Mission accomplished. The plot's a complete rehash from the first one. The CGI in this movie is garbage.
Yes,
it's so garbage. Even back then, it was garbage.
It looks cheap.
So bad.
So cheap. And I mean, even beyond that, it lacks any of the qualities that made the first film great. Because the first film, I love it. It's a very uneven film. But what I find ironic about it was that back in 1980, when Escape from New York was made, computer graphics weren't exactly a thing yet. So when they shot that scene where the glider is flying in and you see the readout, they literally used reflective tape and shot that, and then they cranked up the whites and cranked up the blacks so that it looked like a computer graphic. And somehow that's a more convincing graphic than anything that is in this. This movie is insultingly cheap looking, and then to have Kurt Russell and they bring him in and he's in his original wardrobe as Snake Plissken, and then they decide no, it's the 90s, we've got to put him in all black so he looks like he's going to some goth rave somewhere, or we need to rip off Blade or whatever. I don't know what.
This movie is so 90s. It's fucking sad. It's so bad.
Painfully so. And then to top it all off, like you have Valeria Golino and Steve Buscemi and all these Stacy Keach.
Keach, yes.
Yeah, and you have all these famous character actors that have been in multiple John Carpenter films.
The chick from Star Trek who played the first Bajoran I think I've ever seen.
Yes, Ro Laren. That's Michelle Forbes.
Yeah.
Then she was also the Admiral in Battlestar Galactica, the reboot of that one.
Oh.
She's got chops. She's a really solid actress, and I'm just gonna say, I've always liked Steve Buscemi, and then I saw this film, and then I was like, I'm gonna need to rethink that one because I kind of hated him.
He's fine. I mean, it's the movie. The movie sucks. I mean, the only thing slightly redeemable about this is Kurt Russell, and I think even he is phoning it in to a degree.
I won't say he's phoning it in. I'm saying that he's playing Snake Plissken as parody.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
not good on any level.
I don't know what to say about this film other than I hated watching this movie. I really did. And I hated it.
I didn't watch it the first time. I watched it years ago, and I have to watch it again. Really sucked.
Yeah.
It was not fun.
And to top it all off, here's the really insulting part of this is that this movie is proof that when you have a really successful film, you shouldn't necessarily do a sequel because this is one of the worst sequels that I've seen. And I'm also going to say, what's the scene that stands out to you as like the absolute oh God, why did they do that scene?
Oh geez, there's so many. The surfing scene.
Yes.
The surfing scene with Peter Fonda.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? It's super. Well, and why Peter Fonda?
Who wrote this fucking thing?
John Carpenter and Kurt Russell. And there was
wrote this?
Yes, they are credited as the screenwriters for this one.
Shame on you guys.
So,
shame on you.
So they are fully responsible for everything that is bad in this film. And
here's the problem is they threw too many scenes in there that relied on CGI. If they got rid of the surfing scene, and actually there's plenty of scenes in here that really didn't require CGI. Like, did we need a CGI sub? You could have built the fucking sub.
Yeah, and it would have looked better.
Well, definitely fucking better. And they didn't need to shoot that whole thing with the shark trying to bite him. I mean, how fucking lame is that? And the underwater LA? No, you didn't need to. You need to scale all that bullshit and back.
Even
if they would have got rid of that, if they would have used some fucking real sets instead of backlotting fucking everything except for that stadium.
I was going to say, what made Escape from New York work was that they went and scouted
shot in
locations.
East St. Louis.
Yes, they scouted real locations, and they went and they shot there. And when you're watching this film, like even the scenes where they're like driving through like the little shanty towns that are supposed to be set up by the people that have been thrown out of America, it looks staged.
Yeah, it looks like a backlot. Not even a backlot. It looks like a fucking actual stage set.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying. It literally looks like they brought in random pieces of garbage and crash cars and they laid them out, and it's too perfect.
Yes.
It's too designed. It's too thought out. It's like no,
there's nothing authentic in this thing at all. Nothing authentic. Everything was fake as fuck.
It all feels fun. And then to top it all off, like our big action scenes in this film, because this is the Action Bowl, so we got to talk the action. Well, let's talk the action.
Was there? There's some shootouts.
There's some shootouts, and then there is the action-packed basketball sequence. As
sad as it is, that's probably the best part of this movie, because the only part that was semi-tense in the whole thing
was the basketball
sequence. The basketball scene.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I was going to say, the shootouts, you have the motorcycle chase. Which, if you're Snake Plissken and you have a giant machine gun, why are you pulling up next to people? It's perfectly acceptable to shoot them from behind.
Or the gliders at the end.
Oh, God, the gliders were so fucking hokey. And I'm not normally one to drop F-bombs when we're filming reviews. In real life, I'll throw it out anytime, but even like the shots, like where they showed the Queen Mary and they showed the Hollywood sign on fire, looked like bad Photoshop animated. It's everything about this. It's just completely cheap. I like this is mildly better than week one as far as the quality of films go here. And week one was Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger, would have
Oh.
mopped the floor with this fucking movie
So-
all day long.
Yeah.
Here's the sad thing. This had a 50-something million dollar budget. Where did that money go?
I think John Carpenter just put it all into him and Kurt Russell's retirement fund.
I think about their fucking nose.
It was
Something.
the 90s. They had cleaned up at that point. 80s is all about the cocaine. 90s was...
Oh, wait, heroin. Because heroin...
yeah, 90s.
Cocaine is dead. Heroin's back in a big way.
Big way. Look, I'll take the Pepsi challenge. Are we in Amsterdam? Anyway, this is the Action Bowl, so we need to talk some rock hard numbers here. Do you want to go first?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm all in.
Oh, jeez. Plot 2, because it's basically Escape from New York, except for not as good. Style 2, for the same reason. It's basically Escape from New York, but not as fucking good. Fun 2, and that's kind of being generous, because this movie fucking sucks. That's a total of 6.
Here's the irony in all this.
Here's the thing. I'm normally generous about shit like that, but this movie.
Well, here's the other thing, too. You predicted that this was going to be the big smackdown on this. When we drew...
When we drew Kurt Russell versus Cynthia Rothrock, I thought for sure all day long Kurt Russell was going to win this.
And I'm just going to say that as far as my scores go, I was a little more generous than Mike. For the plot, I gave it a 3. For the style, I gave it a 3. And here's the question. Here's my biggest issue with this. How hard is it to find a trash section of a city to film in?
It's not hard.
No.
It's not hard at all.
Unless
Unless you don't feel like leaving fucking LA for whatever reason. I'm sure even in LA you can find someplace that's sucks.
There's the answer to your question right there. Where did the money go? They had to rent studio backlot and green screen everything so that they could then do it in post so that they could say it was a CGI miracle. This had the same budget as Blade. Just throwing that out there for you. Blade was a $60 million film.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and for the fun, I gave this a 2. This is
It deserves every bit of those scores.
This is every bit as bad as The Spy Next Door. So, and that's what we got. So my grand total for this one is a whopping 8. Our next film for the Action Bowl is Cynthia Rothrock, which this one kind of brings up some controversy, and I know exactly where Mike is going with this one. But the name of the film is Fast Getaway, a film that I had never seen prior to this. I'd never heard of it either, and it billed Cynthia Rothrock and Corey Haim. That was the 2 big starring roles, but I'm going to say this right now, and I'm going to throw this at you. While I do see Cynthia Rothrock as a pivotal character in the film, and even the big bad for this film, it's not a Cynthia Rothrock vehicle.
No, it's not. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, is this really a fair match then? Because again, it's not a true Cynthia Rothrock movie.
But again, she was credited second. So I'm sure, throw your comments down there. If you've seen this film and you know what we're talking about, throw it down there. But I will say this. Is Cynthia Rothrock the star of this film? No. Is her character pivotal? Absolutely. This movie would not be what it is without her in it, and I scored it as such. I'm just going to say I legitimately looked at this film and I said, okay, you know what? Here are my scores for this one. But
I still scored it, and
I scored it for what it was, because at the end of the day,
did too.
At the end of the day, this is about, would we recommend this film? What are we genuinely scoring this film? How entertained were we by this film? And I'm going to say this right now. I'm not a Corey Haim fan. I've never really liked Corey Haim.
No, you are a loather of the Coreys.
Yes. And
it's been documented. If you need proof,
Lost
watch the Lost Boys episode.
So, yeah, no.
It's an hour of Coreys.
So I make no apologies about it, but I'm going to say this. This is a great concept film. It starts off and there's a group of bank robbers. It's a father and son and his girlfriend and their tag-along buddy who's supposed to be the getaway driver. It's an incredibly fun setup. Then they have a falling out between them because she thinks that him and her need to go off, and her is Cynthia Rothrock in this, but they need to leave the kid behind.
And him being the dad.
Yeah, him being the dad.
Who is not Corey Haim. Corey Haim is the
son.
son.
Yeah. But they need to leave him behind, and they need to go rob banks together as a group. And he's like, "This is my son. I can't do that. We're package deals."
He's really starting to get on my nerves.
Well, you better get used to it, because he's part of the package.
Well, maybe it's time we exchange that package.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It means I thought maybe just you and me alone.
They have a falling out. They go their separate ways.
Well, the other thing is not only that, but Corey Haim is actually really the brains of the operation.
Yes.
He is the one that plans and lays everything out.
Yes.
So I don't know Cynthia Rothrock what they're going to do. I mean, I'm sure they've probably been semi-successful, but not their getaways.
She's the muscle.
Yeah.
So, and so basically, father and son decide that they're going to try to continue robbing banks, and they have one success. And then, because they've spoken about a town called Webster several times, how they were planning on visiting in it, Cynthia Rothrock stakes out that, and when she sees that the father and son are going in to rob the bank, she calls the cops on them, and dad goes to jail. We're not here to hash plots. We are here to talk about the fun, the style, the plot. And I'm just going to say this right now. Plot-wise, I was totally engaged with this film. I did not expect that. And I am no lover of Corey Haim. Or it's Haim or Feldman? It's
Haim.
Haim. I'm no lover of... But I have to say, this film kept my attention for its full 87-minute runtime. And it was entertaining. And I'm also going to say that there were some great martial arts sequences in this, which compliments of Cynthia Rothrock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There are some phenomenal car chases in this.
Some amazing car chases in this, actually. And the stunt work in this movie is incredible. For the type of movie that it is, it has no business having stunt work this good.
And for an action comedy, it's fun. It
works.
Funny. I laughed. I laughed at Corey Haim. I should feel shame, but I don't.
Even with these bottom of the barrel actors, and they are bottom of the barrel actors.
Yeah.
I mean, let's cut down the brass tacks. Corey Haim, while he's a household name, is not a great actor.
No.
He's not awful, but he's not great. Cynthia Rothrock, not a great actor. I've seen a hell of a lot worse, but I've seen a hell of a lot better. And then the other people, I don't know who the hell they were. I've never seen them before in my life. I've seen the buddy getaway driver.
Yes.
I don't know who he is. I don't know what I've seen.
You saw it in The Exorcist 3.
That was 15 years ago.
Go ahead, Lieutenant.
Temple, why are you encouraging this? Shut your mouth!
So
I'm sure I saw him in some other comedy, not that. But it doesn't matter. The point being, like, even with as low tier towns we got, it's still remarkably enjoyable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually kind of enjoyed myself watching this thing too.
So
It baffles me to no end. It has no right being as good as it is, and it's not a good movie, but it's not awful.
I'm going to
It's
say
actually
this.
not awful.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to air quote this one. I enjoyed this. It was a good movie. I was entertained. Is it light fare? Absolutely.
Absolutely, all day
Is
long.
it an 80s action film? Absolutely, all day long. And was it fun? I would watch this again.
Wow. I'm not going to watch this again.
But
I'm not.
No, don't get me wrong.
This is a great made-for-TV movie, which I'm sure is probably what this was.
Probably a straight to
Straight to
VHS
yeah.
kind of movie, you know, that sort of thing. Because we talked about content and how content was done, just like they're doing streaming movies for Netflix and the other streaming services, and they're knocking out these movies with names.
And in that regard, job well done.
Yeah. And the other thing I'm going to say this. Cynthia Rothrock always plays like the same character in every Cynthia Rothrock movie, except for this one.
Yeah, it's interesting to see her as the bad guy in this one.
She had some chops in this. She was fun and convincing,
was fun.
and I enjoyed it. And I was, like I said, I was watching this for Cynthia Rothrock. I got Cynthia Rothrock, but I got quite a bit more, and I was entertained genuinely. So for me, I would recommend this film, even though it's a Corey Haim star vehicle. So as weird as that sounds. So
I never in a million years would have ever guessed that you would like a Corey Haim movie.
shit, You and me both. So
I would have put money on it. Like I really thought you were going to come in, and this would have been a much closer match.
Swinging. So
but I got a feeling that Miss Rothrock's going to run away with this one.
I think, yeah, and deservedly so. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yes and no, because again, this is not a Cynthia Rothrock movie, so
we didn't put the names on the posters. We just followed the trail. So
I mean, if she walks away with this one, it's a steal. She stole it. She stole it. If it's a win.
Let's
get to
talk,
the
yeah,
scores.
let's talk numbers.
Because a plot, I gave it a 4.
Okay.
I changed it. I think I had it like at a 2. But as it went along, I was like, this actually ain't that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. Style, a 3. I mean, it is what it is. It's a direct-to-DVD movie. At least that's what comes across to me. And then fun, a 3. I was kind of harsh there.
Yeah.
If I had to change the score, be higher, but it is what it is. I wrote it down. That's my score. So it's a total of 10.
So, well, I'm not going to say...
But it's still better than Kurt Russell.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that I was generous on this one. I'm going to say that I scored this appropriately based on my enjoyment of this film. So you may question some of my scores here, but I stand by this because, again, I would watch this film again. I wouldn't watch it on a Friday night, but I would definitely watch it on a Sunday afternoon.
All right.
Because I genuinely, I had fun watching this movie, and I'm the ham hater here. So, but for the plot, I gave it a 7.
That's generous.
And I wouldn't say that's generous because it was an interesting idea. They took a heist film and they did something interesting and original that I had not seen before with it.
I would, reflecting back on it, I would probably meet you somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Because, again, if this had better quality actors, this would have been, for me, a much more enjoyable.
Yes.
And my scores will probably reflect what you got going on.
Yeah.
So go ahead, keep going.
For style, I gave it a 6, and I'll tell you why I gave it a 6. Because just based on the action sequences, they are expertly handled.
Done.
That last chase sequence where they're dragging him, hanging onto the chain link fence out of the back of the truck. Holy shit! It was amazing. It was genuinely
really
amazing. I was like.
Good.
Normally car chases get boring after a while, and that one I was just like, wow, that's awesome. The car chase, the bridge scene where they're lowering themselves down on the conveyor on the bridge, and then they decide we're getting pulled back up, we need to pull the thing, and they drop. No CG, no bullshit.
And there were real people that fell. And it was a long way up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was legit. That was legit.
The action sequences, style, tons of style. Not only were they interesting stunts, they were well executed and well shot stunts. So, and for fun, I gave it a 7. I enjoyed this film, a Corey Haim film. And I'm going to say that, I can't chalk it all up to Miss Rothrock, even though I find her perfectly enjoyable in this. But I found this film to be charming, and it did everything it could with the budget and talent that it had. So it went way above and beyond even the producer's wildest expectations. I wouldn't say this was a direct to VHS film. I would say this is probably more of a indie film picked up for cable. But yeah, so my score overall on this one, I gave it a 20. The scores have been revealed.
I am generally floored by these scores. I thought it was gonna be a lot closer than this, to be honest with you. I knew Rothrock was going to squeak out a win. She stole this. She absolutely stole this because this is not a Rothrock film.
No, you're right. It is.
It's a robbery, but hey, we made the rules.
Yes,
we're sticking with it.
And that was exactly the spirit that I did my scoring in on this one. So for you, for Kurt Russell and Escape from L.A., we've got a 6 and an 8, and so that is a average of 7. And then for Cynthia Rothrock and Fast Getaway, we have 10, and I gave it a 20, so that gives us an average of 15. So surprise, Cynthia Rothrock. I don't think she stole it. I think she earned it because she was in a
she stole it because it's not her
movie.
It's not her movie, though. It is not her movie.
This is
so it's a fast getaway for Cynthia Rothrock. Pun intended. God,
Kurt, I'm sad.
I'm sad too.
I hate to see you go, but I got to be honest. She didn't win so much as you lost. So.
You know how I feel. This is painful. I really don't want to do this, but Kurt Russell, I'm sorry, but you're in the actionable shame, never to be mentioned again.
Surprise upset from Cynthia Rothrock this week. Next week's matchups are Dolph Lundgren and Sho Kosugi. Catch us then.
See you next time.
I'd like to report a robbery in progress.